Let's get ready to rumble!
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Keeping It Real, your favorite podcast where we talk about everything from leveling up in life to the grind it takes to get your bag. I'm your host, Rundown King, and today we're back with part 2 of our financial stability, building a secure future. Now, if you didn't catch part 1, go back and listen. We covered all the foundational stuff, budgeting, cutting back on those useless ass expenses, and how to start managing your money smarter. But today, we're diving into big boy shit. Investing, long-term savings, side hustles, and securing that future bag like a real chaser or chaseette should. But first, quick shout out to my sponsors. If y'all need energy to keep grinding and chasing your dreams, check out W Energy Drinks at w.gg. It's my go-to fuel when I'm streaming on Twitch or just grinding content. And I got y'all. Use my code RundownKeen to get 20% off all purchases. And for my creators out there, if you need help leveling up your content game, check out eclipse.gg. It's hands down the easiest way to create and edit highlight clips from your streams. Use my code RUNDXWN10 to get a discount on their premium plan. Now, let's get to the real talk. All right, let's get into it. We've all heard it before. Make your money work for you. I know some of y'all are like, man, what the hell does that even mean? Well, it means investing, plain and simple. It's about growing your money over time, not just sitting on it like a broke ass waiting for a miracle. And nah, investing isn't just some rich people shit. We can all get in on this, but you gotta start somewhere, whether it's stocks, bonds, real estate, or even crypto. The key is to start small and start smart. Do your fucking homework. Don't just throw your money into some shit because you heard somebody on TikTok say it's a good idea. Now here's the real kicker. Compounding interest. That's where the magic happens. Your money doesn't just sit there. It grows on top of itself. It's like planting a seed and watching it grow into a whole ass money tree, but only if you give it time. So don't be in a rush. The stock market is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but if you play it smart, it's a long game that can bring you in major bags down the line. Now, let's talk about the first decisions you gotta make. Are you gonna play it safe, or are you gonna take some risks? On one hand, you got index funds. These are like the steady, reliable types. Ain't no crazy highs, but ain't no soul-crushing lows either. Index funds are like your slow and steady wins the race kind of investment. On the other hand, you've got individual stocks. These are where the action is. You could hit big and secure a bag like a true chaser, but you could also lose your shit if you're not careful. You gotta be ready for that volatility. That's why, in my opinion, if you're new to the game, start with index funds. They're less stressful and do all the heavy lifting for you. And if you want to throw some extra cash into individual stocks for the fun of it, go ahead. But don't go all in like a damn fool. Remember, slow money is still money. And when you build a foundation, you can start adding those riskier plays. But don't be like some of these clowns on social media trying to act like they got the whole stock market figured out. Do stay patient and focus on that long-term bag. All right, let me drop some real game on y'all about compound interest. I don't care if you didn't pay attention in math class, you need to understand this. Compound interest is what's going to turn you from being a basic broke boy into a legit bag chaser over time. Let me break it down like this. Say you invest $1,000 today and you leave that shit alone. It's not just going to grow by $100 every year, it's going to grow by $100 the first year. But after that, it's growing on the $1,100 you got now. Then the next year, it's growing on $1,200, so on and so on. That's compound interest working its magic. You see how that starts adding up? The earlier you start, the crazier that growth looks over time. If you wait till you're 40 to start investing, you're going to have to play catch up. But if you start when you're 25, by the time you're 50, you're sitting on a fat stack. That's why it's so important to get started now, no matter how small the amount is. Shit, even if it's just $50 a month, let that money grow. Your future self will thank you. All right, now let's talk about something that a lot of y'all probably don't know about: risk tolerance. How much risk are you willing to take with your money? Are you cool with seeing your portfolio dip 10% and not freaking the fuck out? Or does that shit keep you up at night? Your risk tolerance is personal as hell. You gotta figure out what works for you. For some people, the idea of losing money is terrifying, and that's cool. You can stick to safer investments like bonds or those index funds we just talked about. But if you're the type to bet on yourself, take calculated risks and bounce back from losses. Then you might want to consider putting more into stocks or riskier investments. Me personally, I like a little bit of both. I got some long-term safe investments that I know are going to pay off, but I also keep a stash for higher risk moves. It's like playing the game. Sometimes you got to take those shots to win, but never invest your money you can't afford to lose, all right? Don't be out here gambling your rent money trying to flip it quick. That's how you end up broke and embarrassed. All right, now here's some real shit that's not talked about enough for me personally, chasers and chasettes. Investing in yourself. When I say financial stability, I'm not just talking about stocks, bonds, and real estate. I'm talking about the bag you can secure by leveling up your skills, your knowledge, and your mindset. Maybe you want to start a side hustle, or maybe you got dreams of being a business owner, and that's great, but it's not going to happen overnight. You got to put in the work, learn the game, and most importantly, invest in yourself. That means taking the time to learn this shit like financial literacy, business skills, or whatever else is going to help you chase your dreams. It also means being smart about where you put your money when it comes to education or training. Not all education comes with a degree, y'all. Sometimes it's about buying that course that's going to help you develop a new skill. Or even just spending money on books that'll teach you how to play the game better. You are your best investment, hands down. If you ain't leveling up yourself, how the hell do you expect your money to level up? Think about that the next time you're debating whether or not to spend money on something that'll improve you. All right, next up, we got to talk about diversifying your income. You can't rely on just one stream of income and think you're going to stay solid. I'm telling y'all right now, shit happens. Jobs disappear, economies tank, and if all your money is coming from one source, you're fucked. You need to think like a hustler and have multiple bags coming in. That's why side hustles are key, whether it's starting a YouTube channel, flipping shit on eBay, doing freelance work, or whatever. The point is to have money coming in from different angles. I'm not saying go out there and stretch yourself too thin, but find something that you can do on the side that adds to your income without burning you out. It's all about building that cushion so that if one bag dries up, you got another coming in to cover your own ass. And for those of you that are like, but Keem, I ain't got time for all that. Stop bullshitting yourself. You got time. If you spend an hour scrolling on social media or binge watching on Netflix, you got time to go work on a side hustle. Time is money, y'all. Don't waste it. Now, let's get into some real talk about protecting your bag. You could be stacking money all day, but if you ain't protecting it, all that hard work could be down the drain faster than you can blink. I'm talking about shit like insurance, wills, and estate planning. Yeah, I know, it ain't the sexiest topic, but it's necessary. Think about this. What happens to your assets if something happens to you? Do you want the government or randomized people deciding where your hard-earned money goes? Nah, fam, trust. You gotta be the one that sets those rules. Get some life insurance, especially if you got kids or people who depend on you. It's one of those most solid ways to protect your bag and make sure your family's taken care of. And while you're on that, don't forget health insurance. Shit, one trip to the hospital without coverage and you could be drowning in debt before you know it. Protect your shit. It's too valuable and it's too important to leave it to chance. All right, let's break down something crucial when it comes to financial stability. The difference between assets and liabilities. If you don't know this, you're in trouble. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Simple, right? But you'd be surprised how many people mix the two up. Your car. Unless you're making money from your car, like Uber or some shit, it's a liability. That new phone you financed for $1,200, liability. But things like rental properties, stocks, or even a side hustle that's bringing in cash, those are assets. You gotta learn to tell the difference and prioritize building your assets. It's easy to get caught up trying to look rich with liabilities. People buy flashy shit all the time to impress others, but that ain't gonna build your wealth. Focus on acquiring more assets, and over time, those assets will generate more income and build real wealth. That's the bag you want to chase, not some temporary flex. Now, let's take it back to basics real quick. We talked about this in part 1, but it's so important that I'm gonna say it again. Budgeting. If you ain't got a budget, you just out here wilding with your money. I don't care how much you're making, if you don't know where your money is going, you're one bill away from being broke. The thing about budgeting is that it's not about limiting yourself, it's about giving yourself control over your money. When you know exactly what you're spending on, you can start cutting back on the bullshit and redirecting that money towards shit that actually matters, like investments, savings, or even a rainy day fund. And don't hit me with that, but I don't make enough to budget excuse. Whether you make 30K or 300K, everybody needs a budget. It's the only way you're going to be able to build up that financial stability we've been talking about. All right, let's talk debt. We've all got it, or we've had it at some point, but not all debt is bad. I know some people think that any kind of debt is a killer, but it's not that simple. There's good debt and bad debt. You just got to know the difference and how to manage it. Good debt is something that helps you build wealth in the long run, like a mortgage on a house or a loan to start a business. As long as that debt is working for you, it's good. But bad debt, that shit's like credit card debt, payday loans, and all that other shit that keeps you stuck in a cycle of paying off interest instead of getting ahead. If you're swimming in bad debt, your first priority is to get that under control. Start paying down those high interest credit cards, consolidate if you need to, and don't be afraid to cut back on the bullshit to get it handled. Debt is a tool. It can either help you or it can screw you over. It's all about how you use it. And I also cannot stress this enough. If you don't have an emergency fund, you're living on the edge. Life is unpredictable as fuck, and you never know when something's gonna pop up and hit you in the wallet. Car breaks down, medical bills, job loss, shit happens. And if you don't have a cushion, you're screwed. An emergency fund is basically your safety net. You should aim to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses saved up, somewhere that's easy to access, like a savings account. And nah, your emergency fund isn't for vacations. It's not for new shoes, it's strictly for emergencies. Treat it like a break glass in a case of emergency kind of thing. The goal is to have that fund sitting there, untouched, so that way, when life throws you a curveball, you can handle it without going into debt or draining your investments. Trust me, once you set up that emergency fund, you'll get sleep at night, and it'll be a hell of a lot easier to get sleep at night. Now, let's get into goal setting, because if you're just out here aimlessly, you ain't gonna get anywhere. When it comes to financial stability, you need to have a plan, a clear vision of what you're working towards. What do you want to do for your money? And what do you want your money to do for you? Is it your goal to buy a house, start a business, retire early? Whatever it is, you need to prioritize your goals and start taking the steps to make them happen. But here's the catch. You can't do everything at once. You gotta focus on 1 or 2 main goals at a time and break them down into smaller, actionable steps. And don't be afraid to adjust these goals as you go. Life changes, priorities shift, and that's cool. Just make sure you're always working towards something, even if it's just saving on an extra $100 a month. Every little bit adds up, and before you know it, you'll be closer to that financial freedom that you're chasing. Alright, yo, I'm all about making shit easier for myself. And when it comes to finances, automation is the key. Set it and forget it. That's the motto. You can set up automatic transfers to your savings, investments, and bills so you don't have to think about it every month. Let's be real. Most of us aren't disciplined enough to consistently save or invest manually. That's where automation comes in. Set up your paycheck so that a percentage automatically goes into your savings or investment account. It's like you never even had the money so you don't miss it. Same with bills. Set those bad boys on auto pay so you don't get hit with late fees. Automation is about making the process easier and removing the temptation to spend that money on dumb shit. You'll be surprised at how fast your savings or investments grow when you don't have to think about it every month. Now look, I ain't gonna sit here and tell you to never spend your money on shit you enjoy. That's unrealistic and honestly boring as hell. But what I will say is this, you gotta learn how to spend smart chases and chasettes. That means knowing when to splurge and when to hold back. There's a difference between spending money on something that brings you joy or value and blowing cash on bullshit just to flex. You don't need to be out here buying the latest iPhone every year or dropping racks on designer clothes if that shit's not within your means. Spend on expenses, spend on things that are gonna enrich your life, but don't spend just to impress others. The key is balance. Treat yourself, but don't go broke doing it. If you're out here grinding, you deserve to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Just make sure you're stacking that paper and not blowing it all before you get a chance to build up your bag. Now let me put y'all on game about something a lot of people get caught up in: lifestyle inflation. That's when your income goes up, so you start spending more money without even realizing it. You get a raise, and suddenly you're like, shit, I deserve this new car. I deserve this bigger house. And before you know it, you living paycheck to paycheck again, even though you're making more money. Lifestyle inflation is a silent killer to financial stability. Just because you're making more money doesn't mean you have to spend more. Instead of upgrading every aspect of your life as soon as your paycheck gets bigger, keep your spending in check and use that extra income to build your wealth. If you can maintain your current lifestyle while your income increases, you'll be able to save and invest more, which is how you get ahead in the long run. Don't let lifestyle inflation creep up on you and sabotage your financial goals. Now look, I get it. The financial shit can be overwhelming, especially when you're trying to do it all on your own. And sometimes you need to call in the professionals, whether it's a financial advisor, an accountant, or even a lawyer. Don't be afraid to get help when you need it. You don't have to be an expert at everything. That's why there are people whose whole job is to help you manage your money, minimize your taxes, and make sure you're making the best moves. But here's the thing, don't just hire any fucking body. Make sure they're legit and make sure they have your best interests at heart. If you're serious about securing your bag and building that financial future, sometimes you need to invest in professional help. It could end up in saving you a lot of money and headaches in the long run. Now, yo, let me tell you and keep it 100 with y'all. Building wealth is not an overnight thing. It takes time, patience, and consistency. I know in this age of social media, everybody out here flexing like they made $1 million in a year, but most of that shit is cap. Real wealth is built over time through smart investments, discipline, and staying the course. You're gonna have ups and downs, but the key is not to give up when shit gets tough. Stick with your plan, keep grinding, and trust the process. Don't fall for the get-rich-quick schemes or the overnight success stories. Stay focused, be patient, and before you know it, you'll be stacking that wealth and securing your financial future for real. I want to talk to y'all real quick about consistency. This is the most important thing when it comes to building financial stability. Whether it's saving, investing, or budgeting, if you're not consistent with it, you're not going to see results. It's easier to get hyped up and start strong, but when you fall off after a few months, that's when most people mess up. You have to stay consistent, even when it feels like you're not making progress. Those small, steady moves you make over time are what's going to lead to big results down the line. If you can stay consistent with your financial habits, you'll be miles ahead of anybody and everybody else who's just out here winging it. Consistency is key to building long-term wealth, no matter how slow the process might feel at times. Alright, this is one for the parents and future parents out there. One of the best things you can do for your kids is teach them about money early. Most of us didn't grow up learning about this shit in school, and that's why a lot of us had to figure out the hard way. But if you start teaching your kids about saving, investing, and financial responsibility while they're young, you're setting them up for success. Show them to budget, explain the difference between assets and liabilities, and most importantly, teach them how to build wealth instead of just spending it. If we can pass this knowledge down to the next generation, they'll be in a better position than we were. Let's break the cycle of financial ignorance and start building generational wealth for real. Yo, speaking of passing down knowledge to the next generation, let's get into breaking those generational curses. A lot of us grew up in households where money was tight, where we were taught to just get by, survive paycheck to paycheck, and pray we made it to next month. That shit needs to stop with us. We gotta break that cycle of struggle and set a new standard, whether that's through saving, investing, or teaching your kids how to hustle smarter than we did. It's on us to do better, chasers and chasers. We have the knowledge now, and we have access to more resources than ever before. If you don't want your kids or future kids going through the same financial struggles you did, it's time to switch up the game. We can't keep doing the same shit and expecting different results. It starts with us. All right. Let's switch gears and talk about networking. You know the saying, your network is your net worth. And it's true. The people you surround yourself with, the connections you make can open doors that money can't buy. Building financial stability isn't just about stacking paper. It's about building relationships with people who can help you level up. Whether it's through mentorship, collaborations, or just sharing knowledge, your network can be huge and a huge asset in your financial journey. Don't be afraid to reach out to people who are where you want to be. Learn from them, ask questions, and also be open to expanding your circle. Sometimes the biggest opportunities can come from people you know, not just the money in your bank account. Let me hit y'all with some real talk. While you're out chasing the bag, remember to stay hungry, but stay humble. It's easy to let success get to your head, but don't forget where you came from and the people who helped you get there. Staying hungry means you're always looking for the next move, always trying to better yourself and your situation. But staying humble means not losing sight of the bigger picture. Don't be that dude who gets a little success and starts acting brand fucking new. Grind hard, but remember to give back. Stay grounded and never stop learning, chasers and chasers. The moment you think you know everything is the moment you stop growing. Keep that fire in your belly, but stay humble in the process. Now let's talk about the difference between financial independence and financial freedom, because a lot of people confuse the two. Financial independence means you got enough money to cover your expenses without having to rely on anyone else. It's dope, but it's not the end goal. Financial freedom, on the other hand, means you have enough money to live your life on terms, whether that's traveling, retiring early, or just not stressing over bills. It's that fuck you money, the kind of wealth that gives you choices, not just survival. While financial independence is the first step, the real goal should be financial freedom. That's when you're truly in control of your time, your energy, and your life. We live in a world where everyone wants everything now. Instant gratification. But let me tell y'all something. The real success comes when you learn to master delayed gratification. That means sacrificing a little now for a bigger reward later. You don't need to buy that new car or take that expensive trip right away. Sometimes holding off on those wants allow you to build something bigger in the future. It's about thinking long term, not just living for the moment. Sure, it's tough, especially when you see everyone around you flexing. But trust me, that delayed gratification will pay off. The bag will come, but you gotta be patient. Yo, I know we've been talking a lot about grinding and hustling, but I want y'all to remember something. Celebrate your wins. Every step forward, no matter how small, is progress, and you should be proud of that. Whether it's paying off a credit card, saving your first $1,000, or landing a new job, take a moment to appreciate how far you come. Don't get so caught up in the grind that you forget to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Celebrate those wins, but don't get complacent. Use that momentum to keep pushing forward. The bag is a journey, not a destination. One of the most important things I've learned on my journey to financial stability is that you gotta surround yourself with the right fucking people. If you're hanging around people who are constantly negative, always fucking broke, or not trying to better themselves, guess what? That energy's gonna rub off on you. You need to surround yourself with people who are hungry, motivated, and pushing you to be better. People who aren't afraid to challenge you, hold you accountable, and remind you of your goals when you're slipping. That's how you grow. So take a look at your circle. Are they helping you build, or are they holding you the fuck back? If it's the latter, it might be time to make some changes. And also, failure is a part of the process. Straight up, you're gonna take some L's on your way to financial stability, but that doesn't mean you give up. If anything, failure teaches you what not to do next time, and that's valuable as hell. Too many people are scared to take risks because they're afraid of failing. But what if I told you that failure is one of the best teachers you'll ever have? Every successful person you see out there has failed, probably more times than they've succeeded, but they kept going. So don't be afraid to fail. Embrace it, learn from it, and come back stronger. Y'all know I'm big on education, not just the formal kind, but self-education. The more you know, the better you can handle your finances, whether it's reading books, listening to podcasts like this one, or taking courses. Never stop learning. The world of money is always changing. New opportunities come up, and if you're not staying educated, you'll miss out. Keep leveling up your knowledge and stay ahead of the game. Remember, the more you learn, the more you earn. Now this one is for my bag chasers and chasettes out there. Know your fucking worth. Whether you're negotiating a salary, setting prices for your businesses, or just out here hustling, you gotta know what you bring to the table. Don't let anybody undervalue you. Too often we accept less than we deserve because we don't want to rock the boat. But fuck that. You're adding value if you're putting in the work. You deserve to be compensated for it. Know your worth and don't settle for less. The bag you're chasing is yours, but you gotta demand it. Alright y'all, we've covered a lot today, but let's bring it home with the most important piece of advice that I can give you. Keep your eyes on long-term vision. Building financial stability isn't a quick thing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You're gonna have ups and downs, but if you stay focused on your goals and keep working the plan, you'll get there. The bag is waiting for you, but you gotta be patient and consistent. Remember, it's not about how fast you get there, it's about staying the course and securing your future. Let's keep grinding, let's keep growing, and let's keep building that financial stability. All right, y'all, that's a wrap on today's episode of Keeping It Real. I hope y'all are feeling more empowered to build that financial stability and secure that bag for that long haul. Remember this, shit takes time, but if you stay consistent and follow the steps we talked about today, you'll be well on your way to building a secure future. Now, shout out to my sponsors for this episode, W.GG and Eclipse.GG. Y'all already know what it is. Use my code RundownKeen for 10% off W purchases and RUNDXWN10 for a discount at Eclipse. Let's support the brands that support the movement. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to rate and subscribe to Keeping It Real on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Hit me up on Instagram and Twitter at RundownKeen or shoot me an email at keepingitrealwrundown@gmail.com. I love hearing from y'all, and I'm always down for a good conversation. Next week, we're diving into a topic that's just as crucial: embracing change, how to thrive in life's next chapter. We'll be talking about how to face change head on and how to use it as a catalyst for personal and professional success. You won't want to miss it. It will also be our episode 12 season finale, so tune in for that. All right, bag chasers and chasettes, until next time, keep grinding, stay focused, and remember, secure the bag and the bag will secure you. Enjoy your Friday, enjoy the rest of your weekend. This is Rundown Keem. Peace and love. Peace.
Bye-bye.